Have you ever felt like life's meaning is slipping away and you're left asking, what's the point? Well, you're not alone. For most of human history, finding purpose was simple. In ancient times, people looked to religion, kings, or societal traditions to define their purpose. Whether you were a farmer, a soldier, or a scholar, your role in life was clear. You were part of something bigger, guided by divine forces or the rules of society. Life had meaning because it was shaped by something beyond you, something you were meant to serve or contribute to. But over time, this certainty began to break down. With the rise of science, reason, and secular ideas, many people stopped relying on religion or tradition to find meaning in life. The world started to look very different. And so did our understanding of purpose. And this is where the German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche comes in. He said famously that God is dead. Now, Nietzsche didn't mean that God literally died, but rather that the old beliefs that gave life meaning were no longer relevant in the modern world. Religion and traditional ways of thinking had lost their hold over people's lives. What followed was a void. A space where the clear answers we once had about life's purpose no longer existed. And in this void, many people felt lost. With no higher power or guiding principle to follow, we were left to figure things out for ourselves. Some people found freedom in this new world, embracing the opportunity to shape their own meaning. Yet for others, the void became overwhelming, leaving them feeling lost, disconnected, and adrift in a world that seemed indifferent, uncaring, and chaotic. This is the challenge we face today. We're free to create our own meaning, but it's not always easy. The search for purpose can feel overwhelming, and sometimes it leads to frustration or emptiness. So how do we find purpose in a world without clear answers? That's what this video is about. We're about to explore 5 different philosophies that offer ways to create meaning in life. This video is a mix of Western philosophy, Eastern spirituality, and ancient wisdom, all compiled to help you find your life's true purpose. By blending these diverse teachings, we'll explore how each philosophy offers practical insights that can guide you toward living a more meaningful and fulfilled life in a world that no longer provides clear answers. Number 1. Rebel against the absurdity of life. Albert Camus says, "Man stands face to face with the irrational. He feels within him his longing for happiness and for reason. The absurd is born of this confrontation between the human need and the unreasonable silence of the world." French philosopher Albert Camus challenges us to confront an uncomfortable truth. Life is absurd. We're wired to seek purpose and order, yet the universe offers none. We ask, why are we here? But the universe remains silent. This tension, our craving for meaning versus the universe's indifference, is what Camus calls the absurd. Many, upon realizing this, fall into despair, believing life is meaningless. But Camus offers a different path. Instead of surrendering to nihilism, the idea that life has no built-in meaning and that in the grand scheme of things nothing really matters, he urges us to embrace the absurd and create meaning for ourselves. Camus illustrates this with the myth of Sisyphus, the Greek figure condemned to push a boulder uphill for eternity. At first glance, Sisyphus's fate seems cruel and pointless, but Camus sees him not as a victim, but as a hero. By accepting the futility of his task, yet choosing to push the boulder anyway, Sisyphus reclaims his freedom. His defiance becomes his triumph. He doesn't need a grand purpose, his act itself is enough. Camus imagines Sisyphus as happy, and from this he draws a powerful lesson. Life itself is the struggle, and meaning is found in the act of living, not in some distant goal. Instead of searching for ultimate answers, he invites us to engage fully with life as it is. To rebel against the absurd is to live with presence and purpose, despite knowing there's no cosmic justification for our existence. So what does this look like in everyday life? It means accepting reality as it is, without illusions. It means finding joy in simple moments, an artist creating for the sake of creation, a parent caring for a child with no expectation of reward, or even the simple satisfaction of completing the mundane tasks of daily life. Camus teaches us that fulfillment is not in outcomes, but in the process itself. To embrace the absurd is to embrace freedom. Without a predetermined meaning imposed on us, we can have the extraordinary opportunity to shape our own lives. Now, this realization can feel overwhelming. There's no script to follow, no grand destiny awaiting us. But within this uncertainty lies the exhilarating truth that each moment is ours to define. Life's meaning isn't something we find, it's something we create. Just like Sisyphus, we all push our own boulders. The weight of existence can feel heavy, but if we choose to embrace the struggle rather than resist it, we transform it into something meaningful. In defying despair, in choosing to live fully despite the absurd, we declare, "I am free." And in that rebellion, we become the authors of our own lives. Number 2. Meet life with virtue and acceptance. Marcus Aurelius says, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Imagine standing in the heart of a storm. The wind howls, the rain stings your skin, and the cold seeps into your bones. You can't stop the storm, but you can decide how to face it. Will you panic, curse the sky and feel powerless? Or will you stand firm, endure, and wait for it to pass? This is the essence of Stoicism. Focus on what you can control and accept what you cannot. Life, like the storm, is unpredictable and often harsh. Instead of resisting reality, Stoicism teaches us to meet it with its 4 key virtues. Wisdom, meaning to see reality clearly and making sound decisions. Courage, meaning to face pain and fear with strength. Justice, meaning to act with fairness and integrity. And temperance, meaning to practice self-control and balance in the face of life's challenges. Over 2,000 years ago, Stoicism shaped the minds of great thinkers like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca. Despite their different lives, an emperor, a slave, and a statesman, they shared one belief. Meaning isn't found in wealth, status, or external success, but in how we respond to life's challenges. So by cultivating these virtues, we stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and instead ask, "How should I respond?" Imagine you lost your job. It feels like a storm has hit your life, unpredictable and overwhelming. But you don't have to let that storm control you. Instead, you can use the 4 Stoic principles to take charge of your response and find meaning in this challenge. Wisdom helps you realize what truly matters. Instead of getting stuck in frustration or panic, wisdom guides you to understand that your value isn't tied to your job. What matters is your ability to decide how to move forward. That's where your purpose lies. Courage gives you the strength to face the unknown. Losing a job brings fear and doubt, but courage means not letting these emotions paralyze you. It helps you take action, whether it's seeking new opportunities, rethinking your path, or embracing the challenge of change. Justice ensures you stay true to your values. When life feels unfair, it's easy to get angry or resentful, but justice encourages you to remain fair and kind to yourself. It's an opportunity to realign with what matters most to you and not react with bitterness. And finally, temperance helps you maintain balance. Losing a job can lead to unhealthy reactions like excessive worrying, procrastination, or escaping into distractions like social media. temperance reminds you to resist these temptations, focusing instead on what truly matters. Staying disciplined, learning new skills, and working on personal growth. It's about finding a calm, balanced approach that supports your long-term goals, not giving in to excess or negative emotions. By applying these virtues, you shift from feeling like a victim of the storm to someone who faces the storm with clarity, strength, and purpose. Life may be tough, but how you respond is what truly defines your journey. To the Stoics, happiness isn't about changing the world, it's about mastering ourselves. We may not get to control the hand we're dealt, but we do control how we play it. And in that choice, we find something greater than happiness. We find purpose. Number 3. Finding purpose in letting go. Buddha says, "You only lose what you cling to." Have you ever achieved something you thought would make you feel complete, only to find the satisfaction didn't last as long as you'd hoped? Maybe you worked for a promotion, but once you got it, the excitement faded. Or perhaps you longed for a perfect relationship, but it didn't make everything feel whole. We spend much of our lives chasing things: money, success, validation, believing that once we get there, we'll feel fulfilled. But there always feels out of reach. The finish line keeps shifting, and the more we accomplish, the more we realize there's always something else. That nagging question lingers. Is this all there is? What's the point? Buddhism offers a radical perspective. It suggests we feel this way not because we haven't found the right thing to pursue, but because we're looking for fulfillment in the wrong places. It's not the world failing us, but our approach to it. Buddhism, founded by Siddhartha Gautama, or the Buddha, teaches that suffering is unavoidable, but it can be overcome. And at the heart of Buddhism is dukkha, existential dissatisfaction. It's that feeling that something is always off even when things seem good. This happens because we attach ourselves to things that are constantly changing. We want loved ones to stay the same, our bodies to remain youthful, and happiness to last forever. And when these things shift, as they inevitably do, we're the ones who suffer. Instead of telling us to chase grand purposes, Buddhism teaches that true freedom comes from letting go, by not rejecting life, but by freeing ourselves from endless craving. We stop looking for meaning in fleeting things and cultivate it within, living purposefully, moment by moment. The Buddha's 4 noble truths guide this journey, and these are that 1. Life contains suffering. This isn't pessimistic, but a truth we must accept. Even the best moments are fleeting, and when we expect them to last forever, disappointment inevitably follows. 2. Suffering arises from attachment, clinging to people, things, or identities. 3. That suffering can end if we stop clinging to things. And 4. The Eightfold Path shows us how to end suffering, guiding us to live with clarity, integrity, and mindfulness. Let's have a closer look at that last one. The Eightfold Path isn't a rigid set of rules, but a way to align with reality and stop creating unnecessary suffering. It focuses on 3 key areas: wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. Wisdom means seeing life clearly. Right view teaches us to see things as they are, while right intention guides us to act with compassion, not fear or greed. Ethical conduct means living with integrity. Right speech promotes honesty and kindness. Right action encourages choices aligned with our values, and right livelihood involves earning a living that reflects our principles. Mental discipline means mastering the mind. Right effort guides us to steer thoughts away from negativity. Right mindfulness teaches us to live fully in the present, and right concentration helps us develop focus and inner stillness through meditation. The Eightfold Path isn't a quick fix. It's a way of being, It teaches that meaning arises when we align with the truth. The real question isn't what is my purpose, but how am I living right now? Are you present? Are you acting from wisdom or fear? When we stop resisting life and start flowing with it, meaning comes effortlessly. Imagine being free from the feeling of not enough, free from the pressure to prove yourself, free from the need for things to always go your way. That's what Buddhism offers, not an external prize to win, but an inner peace to cultivate. Maybe the answer isn't finding your purpose. Maybe it's realizing you were never lost to begin with. Number 4, finding your purpose in the flow of your life. Lao Tzu says, "Life is a series of natural and spontaneous changes. Don't resist them. That only creates sorrow. Let reality be reality. Let things flow naturally forward in whatever way they like." Imagine a river flowing through the mountains. It doesn't fight the rocks in its path. It moves around them, adapting with ease. This is the essence of Wu Wei, a key principle in the philosophy of Taoism. Wu Wei means effortless action, not in the sense of doing nothing, but in acting without unnecessary force or struggle. Picture an expert musician improvising. There's no tension, no hesitation, just seamless movement flowing naturally from the moment itself. Taoism teaches that suffering comes from forcing things, trying to control life, resisting change, or clinging too tightly to desires. Wu Wei is the art of moving with life rather than against it, like a skilled surfer riding the waves instead of fighting them. Unlike philosophies that emphasize strict discipline, rebellion, or detachment, Wu Wei offers a different approach, engaging with life effortlessly, in harmony with what it is. In modern life, practicing Wu Wei means letting go of excessive control and trusting the natural course of events, acting with ease and spontaneity rather than forcing results, and understanding that resistance creates suffering while acceptance brings peace. Take, for example, a 35-year-old professional who's spent years chasing promotions, obsessing over outcomes and trying to force success. Despite his efforts, he feels stuck, overlooked, unfulfilled, and frustrated. A conventional mindset would tell him to push harder, strategize more, or quit and start over. But Wu Wei suggests a different approach, shifting from control to alignment. Instead of forcing success, he might ask himself, am I flowing with my natural strengths, or am I forcing myself down a path that isn't even right for me? What opportunities are naturally opening up, and how can I align with them instead of fighting my situation? Am I resisting change out of fear, or am I open to new possibilities? By embracing Wu Wei, he stops obsessing over promotions and focuses on deepening his skills, building real connections, and exploring work that feels more natural to him. Maybe he starts a side project out of pure interest, and over time, that opens doors he never expected, without force, without struggle. So, Wu Wei isn't about passively giving in, it's about effortless action, a shift from force to flow, from resistance to adaptability. When we stop fighting against life's currents, we start to find that things fall into place far more naturally than we ever imagined. Number 5. Surrender to the divine. Krishna says, "Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that as an offering to me." When Nietzsche declared that God is dead, he wasn't just rejecting religion. He was warning of a world where people no longer anchored to faith would struggle to find meaning. Many today seek purpose in success, status, or self-expression, yet these often leave people with a sense of emptiness. So if we no longer look to traditional belief systems, Where do we turn to for deeper fulfillment? Bhakti Yoga, a path from Indian philosophy, offers one answer. Meaning isn't something we create, it's something we discover through love and devotion to God, or whichever divine being you choose to believe in. Whether it's God, the universe, or a higher power, the idea is the same. We find purpose not through control or intellect, but through a deep connection with something greater than ourselves. Unlike philosophies that emphasize detachment or effortless flow, Bhakti is about surrendering the heart and opening ourselves to God with love and trust. The Bhagavad Gita teaches that purpose is revealed through devotion. Imagine a singer who once performed for applause, but now sings as an offering to God, or a farmer who no longer sees his work as labour, but as a sacred duty to nourish others. Bhakti transforms even the simplest actions into a spiritual practice when done with love for God. It's not about blind faith or rigid rituals, it's about cultivating a personal relationship with God. A connection that can be nurtured in several different ways, such as chanting or singing devotional songs to open your heart, prayer and meditation to create a dialogue with God, selfless service, helping others without expecting anything in return, or offering daily actions, whether that's cooking, working, or any other task, as acts of devotion. Lord Krishna's message in the Gita is clear. Devotion to God gives life meaning. A nurse caring for a patient with compassion, a parent raising a child with unconditional love. When done with a heart surrendered to God, these acts become bhakti in action. Many today struggle with identity and self-worth, feeling pressured to define themselves by achievement. But bhakti offers an alternative. When we dedicate our lives to God, in whatever form that takes for you, we're freed from the burden of self-centered striving. Instead of constantly asking, "Who am I?" or "What should I achieve?" Bhakti asks, "How can I love? How can I serve?" Lord Krishna reminds us that we don't need to retreat from the world to find God. We can bring devotion into our daily work, relationships and passions. A teacher who shares knowledge with joy, a writer who inspires others with sincerity, craftsmen who pours love into their work, all can experience deep fulfillment through devotion. In the end, Bhakti Yoga shows that meaning is not something we chase, but something we receive through surrender. When we let go of our ego and trust in God, life takes on a new depth. Through love, service, and complete devotion to something greater than ourselves, we don't just find purpose, we merge with something eternal. In this video, we've explored 5 inspiring perspectives on discovering life's true purpose. Camus teaches us to rebel against the absurd and create meaning through our actions. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that meaning comes from virtue, resilience, and acceptance. Buddha reveals that suffering arises from attachment and purpose is found in letting go. Lao Tzu shows us the power of flowing with life rather than forcing it. And Krishna teaches that true fulfillment comes from surrendering to the divine. So maybe it turns out that life's purpose isn't something we find, it's something we create, something we live moment by moment. But the real question is, how will you define your purpose? Will you challenge the absurdity of life like Camus? Embrace virtue like the Stoics? Follow Buddha's path of letting go? Flow with the Tao? Or surrender to the divine wisdom of Lord Krishna? Or maybe, just maybe, your purpose is a combination of all of these, unique to you, shaped by your experiences, your choices, and your journey. So let me ask you, which path speaks to you the most? Let me know in the comments, and if you found this video insightful, check out our full Philosophies for Life playlist for more wisdom that can transform the way you think. And if you haven't yet, subscribe for more content on success, happiness, and deep philosophical insights. Thanks so much for watching.